With all the things that I seen, I ain't ever seen no demons. Love you, brother. Be careful. I will.
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.
If I told you that a musical set in the 1930s, one that blends racism, colonization, hoodoo, and vampires, just won 4 Oscars, would you believe me? Many say it's overrated, that it's forced inclusion, that it's nothing but empty rhetoric. But when you read between the lines, Sinners reveals something very different, a powerful reflection on colonization, and a work with artistic and cultural value that's hard to ignore. The story opens with a narrative, an idea present in various cultures. There are people capable of creating music so pure that it erases the line between past and future, between ancestors and descendants. Music that heals, but that can also attract evil. Then we meet Samuel, who has clearly survived something terrible. He arrives at the church where his father preaches, carrying the remains of what was once his guitar. His father, convinced that such music is linked to sin, orders him to let it go and makes him promise never to play again. From there, the film flashes back a day to provide context. Sammy is one of several brothers forced to work in a cotton field to meet quotas. Amid that routine, his only escape is the blues he plays on his guitar, a gift from his cousins Elijah and Elias, twins with a reputation as gangsters who worked with Al Capone. The twins have returned to town with a plan to open a bar for their people, a space exclusively for black people. However, that idea isn't just ambitious, it's also dangerous. They buy an old sawmill from a white man, making it clear to him that this is the last he'll hear from them. If anyone from the clan shows up, they'll kill him. Then they seek out Sammy to play at the opening. They knew he had talent, but they had no idea just how much. To get the place up and running, they rally their community, the chows. Chinese merchants design the sign and the menu. Delta Slim plays the piano. Cornbread watches the entrance, and Annie cooks. It is through Annie that we begin to see the emotional cracks in the story. She and Elijah were a couple and had a daughter who died when she was very young. Annie hesitates to get involved in the business. She believes it puts them in danger. Elijah insists that things went well for them in Chicago, but Annie disagrees. If they survived, it was thanks to the protective magic she gave them. She points to a necklace that Elijah never takes off. He responds with a devastating question. Then why didn't it save our baby? Annie has no answer. That moment defines Elijah, a man who has lost his faith, and it's not hard to understand why. He went to war, saw death up close, and lost his daughter. After all that, the idea of spiritual comfort seems empty. Meanwhile, Elias has his own conflict. At the train station, he runs into Mary, a love from the past. Her mother had taken in the twins when they were children, after their own mother died and they killed their father, an abusive man. Mary harbors resentment. They didn't attend her mother's funeral, nor did they even send flowers. Elias responds harshly, trying to push her away. In those days, interracial love wasn't just frowned upon, it could be deadly. Later, on the way to the sawmill with Delta Slim, the conversation turns to the blues, not as a musical genre, but as an act of resistance. It's the one thing they haven't been able to take away from them. Delta sums it up bluntly. They like the music, but not the people who make it. It's a line that encapsulates all the tension of the film. Meanwhile, elsewhere in town, something unsettling happens. A man falls from the sky, his body burned and smoking. A couple, Bert and Joan, take him in when he claims he's being chased by Native Americans. Shortly after, the Native Americans arrive and warn Joan. That man isn't who he says he is. She shouldn't have let him in, but Joan and her husband belong to the Ku Klux Klan. She doesn't trust the warning. She soon discovers her mistake. Bert is brutally murdered, and the stranger reveals his true nature. He is a vampire. He doesn't just kill, he transforms his victims. That same night, the bar opens its doors. The place comes alive. People exhausted from working in the fields finally find a space to breathe, dance, and be free. However, Elijah soon becomes frustrated. Instead of real money, many pay with wooden nickels, the only payment they receive in the fields. Elias asks him to calm down. What matters isn't immediate profit, but what they're building, a refuge. And it is. The difference between the brothers becomes increasingly clear. Elijah is tough, practical, and marked by loss. Elias, on the other hand, still retains a certain sensitivity. That difference is accentuated when Mary appears in the bar. Elias tells her she shouldn't be there, but the emotional tension soon breaks. In an intense scene, likely the one that earned Michael B. Jordan his Oscar, Elias admits the truth. He still loves her, and that's precisely why he pushed her away. He found her a husband of her own race who could give her a secure life. That was his way of protecting her. But then the question arises that changes everything. If they can't be together even in that small refuge they've created, what's the point of all this? Even if they call them sinners, they decide to let their feelings run free. The party reaches its peak when Sammy starts playing. I Lied to You. The song is a confession. He knows he has disobeyed his father, that he hasn't given up music, but he doesn't see it as a sin. I'm full of blues, holy water too. That line sums up his essence. For Sammy, music isn't corruption. It's connection. It's a bridge bridge between generations, between pain and healing. The scene is one of the film's most powerful artistic moments, a fusion of rhythms and dances from Africa, Asia, Europe, and America. A cultural mosaic that transcends time. But that purity is what attracts the vampires. From a distance, they sense the power of Sammy's music. Later, he confides his dream to Elijah, to go to the city and make a name for himself in the music industry. Elijah, however, tries to dissuade him. He believes he'll be safer staying put, preaching alongside his father, that the closest he'll ever get to that world is tonight. And then there's a knock at the door. It's the vampires. Elijah refuses to let them in. He asks them if they belong to the clan. The leader, Remick, takes offense. He assures him they have money, that they can play music, that they just want to celebrate. They prove it with a disturbing musical number. Perfectly in sync, they sing Pick Poor Robin Clean, a song that, beneath its seemingly innocent tone, hides a metaphor about stripping someone of everything. Exactly what they plan to do, steal Samuel's soul. But the twins don't fall for the trap. They throw them out. They know that, in a business like theirs, black, independent, in the midst of the post-prohibition era, it's a noose around their necks. Before leaving, Remick throws out one last provocation. If we can't come in because of who we are, what's she doing here? He points at Mary. Annie replies firmly, she's family. Remick agrees to leave, but makes it clear they're not gone. They'll stay nearby, waiting for them to change their minds. Inside the bar, Mary tells Elias she can talk to the strangers to find out what they want. It might be dangerous, but they could also bring real money. Elias hesitates, but finally agrees and sends her. When Mary goes out, the vampires are singing Will You Go, Lassie Go, a song of Irish-Scottish origin that invites someone to join in an activity. Indirectly, they're asking her to join them. Mary demands to see the money they promised. Remick shows her several gold coins, but they're extremely old. It's a clear sign that he doesn't belong to this century. Then he starts drooling unnaturally. Mary gets scared and tries to run away, but it's too late. Shortly after, she returns to the saloon. Cornbread opens the door for her, suspecting nothing, and she walks in as if nothing had happened. She seduces Elias, gets close enough, and kills him. Elijah reacts immediately and shoots her, but it doesn't hurt her. Mary escapes, promising she'll be back soon and that they'll all be a family. Forever. Elias dies. The party ends abruptly. People panic and rush out of the saloon. Annie is the first to realize that something is wrong. Something supernatural is behind all this. Confirmation comes when Cornbread returns and asks permission to enter. Annie pauses. All night long, he's been coming and going without a problem. So why does he need permission now? It soon becomes clear. He can't cross the threshold on his own. Annie tells him she knows what he is now. He's dead, and his soul is damned. Cornbread acts offended and demands to be paid for his work. Elijah hands him the money, but as soon as he gets close, Cornbread tries to bite him. Elijah reacts faster and blows his face off with a shot. Sammy panics. He thinks it's all his fault. His father always warned him that the devil would come for him if he kept playing music. Delta Slim calms him down. None of this is his fault, but the situation gets worse. In the room where they left Elias's body, they start hearing knocks on the door. A voice demands to be let out. Elias, now turned. He tries to manipulate Elijah, insisting that what he saw wasn't real, that he never died. Annie intervenes immediately. That's not Elias anymore. When he breaks down the door, Annie throws garlic and vinegar at him. The vampire recoils and flees. There's no doubt left. Annie knows they're dealing with vampires. The only option is to barricade themselves in and hold out until dawn. While they wait, the film presents one of its most unsettling moments. Outside, Remick and the newly turned dance, covered in blood, moving with a disturbing joy. They sing Rocky Road to Dublin, a traditional Irish song. The lyrics speak of the journey to Dublin and how difficult it is to leave home, enduring mockery and rejection. Through them, we come to understand a little more about Remick. He comes from Ireland, and his history is also marked by colonization. Ireland suffered centuries of English rule, from the imposition of Christianity to the prohibition of speaking their own language. In a way, Remick sees a reflection of that pain in the black community. In this fantasy, Sammy is the key. His music could allow him to reconnect with his ancestors, to feel that lost bond once again. But her solution is unsettling. Remick proposes an existence where everyone shares memories, history, and experience, an eternal community without differences. However, although the pain of both cultures has similar roots, it is not exactly the same. By imposing this vampiric community as salvation, Remick ends up doing something very similar to what scarred him, erasing or diluting the cultural experiences of others. It is not cultural exchange, it is assimilation. Then he issues another warning. The alternative is not promising either. The man who sold them the sawmill belongs to the Ku Klux Klan, and plans to return at dawn to kill them. Actually, they never had a chance to be free. And we know he is not lying. Bert, the man murdered at the beginning, was the nephew of that same owner. Even so, Remick makes a final offer. He can help them eliminate the clan. If they hand over Samuel, they all refuse, so he changes tactics. He turns to Mrs. Chow and threatens to go after her daughter before sunrise. To leave no room for doubt, he tells her in her own language. Now they're not just dealing with the vampires outside. The clan is closing in as daylight breaks. Amid the tension, Annie asks Elijah for something. If she ever turns, he must kill her. Drive a stake through her heart. She says she's seen her fate, and the only peace she finds is knowing her baby awaits her on the other side. Mrs. Chow panics. To save her daughter, she makes a desperate decision. She invites the vampires in. The bar becomes a battlefield. The fight is brutal. Annie is bitten, and Elijah keeps his promise. Only he and Sammy remain. Then Elias reappears and tries to bite his brother, but he can't. Something stops him, like an invisible barrier. The necklace. Annie's magic had been working all along. Sammy tries to flee, but Remick catches up to him. Before turning him, Sammy begins to pray. To his surprise, the vampire joins him in the prayer. Remick explains that those symbols don't affect him either. When the English arrived in his land, those same prayers were also imposed on him. Still, he understands why they can be comforting. At that moment, Sammy smashes his guitar against his head. The instrument had a silver plate. The blow seriously wounds Remick and weakens the rest of the vampires. Just then, the sun begins to rise. Elijah appears and drives a stake through Remick's heart. The vampire disintegrates in a whirlwind of fire, and all the turned burn with him. But the story isn't over yet. Elijah tells Sammy to flee. He'll handle the clan. All the characters' emotional weight falls on that moment. A child who protected his brother from his own father. A young man scarred by war. A man who lost his daughter, his wife, and now his brother as well. He can't even roll a cigarette with a steady hand. He takes off his necklace and confronts the clan. He manages to take them out, but is mortally wounded. As he lies dying, he imagines Annie and their baby by his side. The story then returns to the beginning. Sammy in the church refusing to let go of the remains of his guitar, refusing to let the pain stop turning into art. He walks out of there. Years later, Sammy achieved his dream. He is a renowned musician who continues to play the blues. At the end of one of his concerts, he hears the guard giving someone permission to enter. It's Elias and Mary. They are still young, exactly as they were the last time he saw them. They managed to escape before dawn and have since dedicated their lives to listening to Sammy's music. After the attack, Elijah forced Elias to promise something, to let Sammy live a long and peaceful life, and Elias kept his word. But now Sammy is old, so he offers him the same thing Remick wanted to give him decades ago, immortality. Sammy rejects the offer. He says he has lived long enough. Before leaving, Elias asks him to play the song he performed that night at the opening. Sammy picks up his guitar, a copy of the original, and plays it. Then he confesses something. Before everything turned into a nightmare, that night was the best of his life. He asks Elias if it was the same for him. Elias says yes. It was the last time he saw his brother, the last time he saw the sun, and for a few hours, everyone could feel what freedom was. That's how Sinners ends. A film that, more than just a horror story, takes time to build its characters and their context. With museum-worthy cinematography, effects so subtle we almost forget we're watching a movie, and intelligent, dynamic, and emotional writing. But now I want to know your opinion. Did you think it was as good as they say, or do you think it falls short? Do you think that in the end, Remick got what he wanted by being freed from his curse and reuniting with his loved ones in the afterlife? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. See you in another Plottin' Minutes.